A few months ago, I randomly got my hand on a pack of great training material about leadership. The story was that one of my colleagues was running out of space in his storage cupboard, and he gave me this pack by Arbinger Institute, which is an American management consultancy. And inside this pack, there were two great books. And today I want to talk about one of those books with you and share some insights. But credit goes to my colleague Davide for giving me this pack. And the book that I want to talk about is called Leadership and Self-Deception. It's a great book with very high ratings online, and it's actually written in a very interesting way with stories and examples about some of the lessons. So I highly recommend anyone who likes to get hold of the book and read it in full. But in terms of the key takeaways that I want to share with you, the book talks about self-deception. Self-deception is basically when we tend to blame others and don't see our own faults in different day-to-day situations. Whilst the book is mainly focused on organizational relationships and work conditions, I think a lot of the concepts equally apply to non-work life when we deal with each other in society, in families, in different circumstances. So we tend to blame others and not admit our own faults. And the consequence of self-deception is that we will remain stuck in conflicts. Being self-deceived means that will hinder good relationships, and also it will stop growth and effective leadership. One of the very great examples in the book, which is interesting, is about how an infant child, a baby who is trying to learn how to crawl, she kind of pushes herself back into the middle of the furniture. She gets stuck, and then she keeps on pushing more, so she gets even more stuck, and then she starts screaming and crying, and she in her thought the furniture is to blame, and she doesn't observe, she cannot see how her own actions are contributing towards the situation that she is in. Well, that's how a lot of us are. So we tend to overlook our own faults, how our own thoughts, mindsets and actions are contributing towards the situations that we particularly don't enjoy, and we tend to blame others for those situations. The authors introduced the concept of the box. So here I've drawn a picture of a box. Inside the box, when we have this mindset, we tend to see others as objects rather than actual people. We will have poor communications with them, and there will be strained relationships. We mostly see others as means of achieving our own goals, basically. So if we want to look at the what and who focus, inside the box, we are focused on justifications. We are not doing what we are supposed to do, and then we look for justifications, for reasons why our behavior is justified. It has happened to me, it might have happened to you as well, that you do something which you don't particularly think is the right thing towards a person because you may not like them, and then in your head, because you don't want to feel like a bad person, you look for reasons why the action that you took is justified, because that person has done X and Y, and you try to somehow make it feel right for you, despite the fact that you know that deep down you shouldn't have done something. Outside the box, the focus is on results. This is most relevant for organizations where we should really try to work as a team to achieve results for the organization. In terms of the who focus, it probably doesn't surprise you that in the box, the focus is on ourselves. What do I like? What does benefit me? I don't care about anyone else. Whereas outside the box, the focus is on others. I see other people, and pay attention to their concerns and their thoughts as well. As an example of being in the box, again, some social examples is if it has happened ever to you that you're in the lift, and the door begins to close, someone is running towards the lift, and then you pretend like you don't see them because you want to get to your work or whatever 20 seconds earlier. You pretend like you don't see them and you let the door close. Or the book also gives examples of, imagine you're sitting on a plane or on a bus and the seat next to you is free, and as other passengers are approaching, you pretend like you're reading a paper or a book, or you put your bag on that seat. You use any tactic somehow to keep that seat free so that you are more comfortable, despite the fact that some other people might need to sit somewhere and they're struggling to find somewhere to sit. So those are all examples, non-work examples, of where our mindset can be in the box and not caring about other human beings. But next, what's the process? So in terms of step by step, so how do we get in the box and what happens then? We tend to betray ourselves. We do something that deep down we know we shouldn't be doing that, but because we know we shouldn't be doing that, and then that kind of creates a difficult feeling inside us, we see the world in a way to justify our betrayal. Like I said, we tend to look for reasons why our self-betrayal, our action, our thoughts is justified. As a result of that, our view of the reality is distorted. It's almost like wearing a glass, that by wearing that glass, you tend to see all others in fault, or their virtues will be much smaller, and by reflection, I see myself as being flawless and fantastic. So once our view of reality is distorted, I have entered the box. What happens then? Some of those boxes tend to become part of my character. I carry those boxes with me in day-to-day interactions. It almost becomes the default scenario when I deal with other people. It becomes part of my DNA and my mindset. And by being in the box and behaving in that way, I often provoke others to behave in a similar way. I provoke others to be also in the box. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy that will provoke others to behave in the same negative way. And finally, what I want to share is some ways of how can we get out of the box. So six toppings here. First, recognizing biases and blind spots in ourselves and trying to self-reflect and seeking feedback from trusted colleagues or trusted peers. Second, cultivating empathy and understanding, looking at people as real human beings with objectives, concerns, and goals as well, rather than just as means of us getting to our own objectives. Third, practice continuous self-awareness, regularly examining our own thoughts, emotions, assumptions about different situations. Fourth, seeking diverse perspectives and feedback, challenging our own assumptions and broadening our understandings. Fifth, implementing positive changes once we have discovered something, implementing those through actual action. And finally, embracing vulnerability and learning, recognizing the fact that the learning journey is never going to come an end, and there will always be some vulnerability, some blind spots, some issues that we will all need to work on ourselves to better our view on our actions towards others.